Hello and welcome to Earth Riot Radio. I'm Reverend Billy here with Savitri D and our editor Jason Candler. And our show is a special show today. Earth Riot comes to you from an interview we had with Leonard Peltier, who's just out of 49 years of imprisonment for a crime he did not commit. And he has so much to teach us. So privileged to talk with him. We're also going to talk with Norman Siegel and his latest Justice in Real Time. And of course, the StopShopping Choir. Now here, we're just in Richmond, Virginia. In just a couple hours, we'll be back on stage with the StopShopping Choir. And our message in this time of the Earth's crisis is simply that we must find a kind of change in ourselves. It's going to feel strange, but it comes from something the earth will give us, and we call it love. Love is a quality. It's the strongest force. The love just comes into us, and it gives us a chance to survive. And we, with that force, we will be able to oppose these billionaires and their toxicity and the institutions that they control. Well, it just does seem impossible to a lot of us. And we have our doubts too sometimes. But Love Earth is a good name for an effort, musical and shouting at the wind what we believe we can do to be with the earth in this struggle for life. We hope you do this with us. Somebody give me an Earth-alleluia here today. And now, let's listen to Leonard Peltier.
Refresh my memory. What's this about?
We're from a group in New York City called the Church of Stop Shopping.
Okay.
And we fight consumerism,
Mm-hmm.
and, saturation advertising, and the life of too much convenience and products. And we have a choir, and we oftentimes go into fossil fuel companies, into their lobbies, and sing songs, and hand out information about the toxicity of their corporations. We specialize in banks, like JP Morgan Chase and HSBC and UBS, the oil banks, big oil banks.
Yeah.
Who feed money to the pipelines.
Yeah.
So we're activists, but we're artists. So that's and we're so honored to be with you today. We have questions, of course.
Sure.
Well, our perspective is the earth. You know, we're earth activists, and we work for the earth. So we come to you from that perspective.
All right, cool.
Most importantly.
And I'm Billy, and this is Savitri. You got our names?
Savitri. Okay, cool name.
And what do we call you? What's your...
Basically, I got numerous names. Been named from different tribes, and I'm more well known by just plain Leonard Peltier. So we'll just continue to use that.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, I would start by asking you really to talk to us about AIM and the legacy of AIM. As an earth activist, I feel a lot of people don't know the story of AIM and all the amazing work that AIM did and the successes that AIM had in activism. I know AIM started out in the prisons, but moved swiftly to the whole country. And I just wonder if you would talk to us about the American Indian movement and what it means to you and how it lives today.
Yeah. Well, I should mention that I had been an activist numerous years before I joined up with the American Indian movement. Um, I was actually my activism started in 1953 when I was taken from this reservation and put into a boarding school.
Oh.
I'm one of the boarding school survivors. I was 10 years old when I almost died there, but I survived that. And then I continued with different actions, different groups, saving this reservation. I was just a kid. I was just there. It was a number, but I was there with the adults, my father and his generation. We were the second reservation to be terminated, and we stopped it here. We stopped our termination, and other tribes followed suit after they seen that one little reservation could stop such a huge effort by the United States government to commit genocide against us. And that's what it was. If they would have took away our treaties and our reservations, we would have no longer existed. In fact, in 1950s, early 50s, the major magazines, I think one of them was named Look, was on the headlines of the vanishing American Indians. We don't know what happened. They just disappeared. That was the goals of this government for Native people, to make us disappear, vanish. And I was introduced to the movement, the struggle of Native people for survival at that early age. So then in 1970, I think it was, I joined up with the American Indian movement. Maybe it might have been 71. But our goals as the American Indian movement policies were, we would not go to any reservation, which was actually a concentration camp. And the Nazis patterned their concentration camps off of what they of the ones here created by America. And I joined up with them, and I first heard Dennis Banks speaking on the radio, and I was very impressed with his speech and the way he was presenting himself. And I had asked my sister, I said, have you heard this guy before? And she said, I hear him all the time. He's always on the radio. So I ended up meeting him in Denver, Colorado. I met Vernon Belcourt in Denver, Colorado. Then we had our convention in Leech Lake in Minnesota. And then that's where I met up with Dennis. And I was very impressed with his beliefs, his policies, and the policies of the American Indian movement, which was we could not go to any reservation and impose our policies or whatever. We had to be invited by the chiefs, the real leaders of the tribe, clans mothers, and the elders. We could not go, and we did not go to any reservation. I like that. I thought that was the right policy to follow. So I joined up with the American Indian movement, and the rest is basically all history. What I was involved in, and it was numerous actions across this country. You know.
Oftentimes we can't remember because of the way that the consumer culture erases things. Kind of got built-in racism there. We don't remember, for instance, the Indian Wars, Big Mound, Dead Buffalo Lake, Stony Lake, Whitestone Hill,
Wounded Knee, Sand Creek. The list goes on. Hundreds of so-called battles that went on were actually assaults on defenseless villages, stuff like that. After the traders, native people that were traders, became scouts for the American government, pulled surveillance on these villages and watched as the warriors and the leaders went hunting and left the village basically defenseless. There was a small group of people there, not enough to hold off the cavalry though, and other groups that vigilante groups that were out there killing off villages. And that's the true history. That's what really happened. Whenever we won a war battle with them, it was called a massacre. Mm-hmm. Whenever they destroyed one of those villages, killing men, women, and children, they called it a battle. And we are people of the earth. We believe in Mother Earth. We know that Mother Earth provides everything for us. Without her, we would not be able to survive, nor would we exist. So we were the first and only Earth environmentalists here in what's called the Americas today. From the beginning, we tried to teach that to our invaders, but they came and their philosophy was ideology was totally different from ours, and they wanted to come in and mine, drill, as Trump says, and destroy the earth and the environment. And that's basically what's happening today. As we see, the earth's on fire right now. It's burning.
Yes.
That's because of the environmental destruction that they've created. But no, we love our mother. She's our mother. Mother Earth, that's our mother. She provides everything for us. Without her, we wouldn't be able to survive. We wouldn't be able to eat. Nothing,
Leonard, do you think that the Earth is communicating with us in some way when there are these superstorms and wildfires and droughts?
Of course. I mean, the Earth is fighting back, and we've always. If you go back and listen to what we've said 60 years ago, we were saying that then. It's telling us, you're destroying the Earth, Mother Earth. You're destroying. She's trying to send us a message, and we see it's still going on today. I mean, Canada right now is on fire. And then they're blaming individuals, saying some individuals starting these fires and stuff like that. But come on, not the massive fires that are going on across Canada or here in America and California. Where else? Massachusetts, New York. No, I believe, and we believe that Mother Earth is talking to us, telling us.
What kind of resistance can we make right now to the government and the big banks and the oil companies and consumers driving all day and buying things?
I think the resistance that we should continue doing is stop buying the products that are destroying the earth. There's other mankind is very intelligent. He's got they can create other products to replace, like oil and for example, just one thing. They can create stuff like that off the sun, the solar and all this other stuff. They've showed us they can do that. And that's what we got to do. We got to stop destroying Earth by creating new things that will help us save the Earth.
Because the rest of my life is flying by yours, the lives of our bodies shade through the doors. Because you walk by me and I walk by you, everyone we've ever loved is walking by too. Because the air around you moves like light, I gather the four walls and fall with the night. Because the hours were ours, time carries the part. Our quiet wildness is the beat of because the rest of my life is flying by yours. The lives of our bodies shade through the doors. Because you walk
And now we join civil rights attorney Norman Siegel for Justice in Real Time.
Pleasure. Good to see Savitri and Reverend Billy. We've got a lot of updates and some new cases. So let me begin. In the area of immigration, on Friday, August the 1st, the Ninth Circuit Court of Appeals affirmed the federal district court decision in Los Angeles enjoining ICE from making arrests without, quote, reasonable suspicion, end of quote, and it held that the plaintiffs were likely to succeed in showing that the federal agents made arrests on how people looked, how they spoke, and where they lived and worked. Now, the standard is likely to succeed, and the Ninth Circuit affirmed the district court. Now, I assume the Trump people are going to go to the U.S. Supreme Court, and we'll have to see what happens here, because a trial court is usually the person or persons who determine the facts. So if the facts here are in the record, hopefully the Supreme Court won't undo this one. With regard to immigration, we have some new cases, but I'll hold off because I want to talk about academic freedom. We talked about it last week. We talked about George Mason University in Virginia, where the Department of Justice opened an investigation into the diversity program there. And the school's board met last Friday. And at this point, the president, Gregory Washington, is staying, at least for now. But an update on academic freedom, which was shocking this morning when I read the New York Times. They have a story in there where Trump is now asking $1 billion from UCLA to restore hundreds of millions of dollars. I think they held back about $584 million from UCLA with regard to federal research funding that the government halted, according to a draft settlement agreement reviewed by the New York Times. So the difference here, Columbia, Brown, Harvard, they're private schools. UCLA, it's like the CUNY system in New York. It's state run, it's public. And this is, I think, a focus on LA, but it could be that, CUNY better get ready because I think they could potentially do the same thing here. So the other thing I wanted to point out and update, we've talked a little about emergency applications, known in the Supreme Court as the shadow docket. So the New York Times last Sunday did an excellent editorial. It talked about in the Bush and Obama years, that's 16 years, both of those administrations filed in the 16 years 8 emergency appeals. That's 1 for every 2 years. Trump, 1, filed 41 times. That's like almost 1 a month. But he outdoes us. And Trump, 2, because through July, he filed 21, which is almost now 1 every week. The Supreme Court on the first 3 of the 21, they denied them. But for the last 18, they've granted the emergency appeals. They're allowing, according to the Times, Trump to expand his executive power and alter the structure of government. I basically say the Supreme Court is now too deferential to the Trump administration. So with regard to new cases, going back again, immigration, there was one filed last Wednesday in the federal court in California. It focuses on a part of the immigration law that allows the Secretary of State to determine that a non-citizen poses a threat to the United States foreign policy and can be removed from our country. This case argues that it's unconstitutional to use this provision for speech and other activities by the First Amendment. In the context of this case, the plaintiff is the Stanford student newspaper, and they're arguing that students self-censor or they quit the paper out of fear of retaliation. And you can understand that in the context of foreign students. 2 lawsuits filed in New York. Shout out to the ACLU and NYCLU. Disclosure, I used to work for the Civil Liberties Union, but they filed 2 lawsuits last week with regard to the 26 Federal Plaza, which is downtown in Manhattan. The first one challenges the conditions of space where migrants are detained. They argue that it's overcrowded and unsanitary. That's on the 10th floor. And they're being held for days, and some instances for as long as a week. They have no way to communicate with their lawyers. I applaud that lawsuit because you've seen what's going on and you read about it, and someone had to do something. The second lawsuit they filed was challenging the arresting of the migrants who show up for a hearing on the 12th or the 14th floor, and they're arguing it's a trap. It's a trap because people come, and what do they do if the case is dismissed or even if it's adjourned? The people from ICE in the hallways with masks, not necessarily wearing any uniforms, they seize people. So they're challenging it with regard to whether that whole process is constitutional.
Let's you and me go swimming. Let's you and me go swimming in the dead zone sea. In the dead zone sea. De-demonize the Wuhan bat. De-demonize the Wuhan bat. The civet cat goes free. The civet cat goes free. Let's you and me go climbing. Let's you and me go climbing up the blackened mountainside. Up the blackened mountainside. Apologize to the bleeding sun. Apologize to the bleeding sun. We lost the last word. 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 Let's you and me go flying. Take a rocket to the innocent breeze. Take a rocket to the innocent breeze. Breathe the smog of broken data. Breathe the smog of broken data. Oh, crash in the crime of the tree. Crash in the crime of the tree. Let's you and me go dying. Let's you and me go dying. With the race to end our race. Look up from the mirror and into the eyes of everyone's unknown beautiful face. Of everyone's unknown beautiful face. I love the horizon, leaping to its depth. Let's embrace what isn't there. Let's go for a swim in the raging flood of Mother Earth self-care. 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 Mother Earth self-care.
I'm Savitri D with Reverend Billy. We're here in Richmond, Virginia on tour with Neil Young and the Chrome Hearts. Just want to thank Leonard Peltier for giving us that interview. We'll be airing it over the next 4 weeks. And want to thank Charis Ford and Peter Mark for their help connecting us to Leonard Peltier. You can check out his work. We have a link on our website, revbilly.com. You can see his paintings and his prints. And if you want to support Leonard, that's a really good way to do it. We're so grateful to Jason Candler, our editor, and you, our listeners. Earth-alleluia.
Earth-alleluia. Somebody give me an Earth-alleluia. One more time, Earth-alleluia.